Well, big news coming in for Vedanta's shareholders. The company has announced that on the 1st of September, it's going to be holding a board meeting. This board meeting, the agenda of this board meeting will be to decide on declaration of an interim dividend. Now, the reason why this assumes importance is because of two events that recently took place. Firstly, Vedanta Resources announcing that it is going to be putting in a very sharp and strong focus on deleveraging. It does have quite a bit of debt on its balance sheet, and now its focus is to cut down on that debt. The one way that it can do so, of course, is by taking, getting those cash flows that it gets from its operating subsidiaries. And by the way, remember that, right now we are in this great commodity boom. We've seen that reflected in Vedanta Limited's own balance sheet. The net debt is decreasing. So from 27,000 crores to now 20,000 crores. And the cash has also, by the way, come down a little bit from 35,000 crores to 31,000 crores. But nevertheless, it is still at quite a strong position. Remember that we are in this commodity upcycle. It's boding well for Vedanta Limited. And then, of course, you do have the fact that Vedanta Resources has slowly upped its stake. It had a failed delisting attempt last year. It had taken, debt on to go ahead with that delisting. But now that money was used to put forward voluntary open offers. So it purchased over the last 2 quarters, a 10% odd stake in Vedanta Limited. So it increased its holding in Vedanta Limited from 55 to 65%. So obviously any dividend declaration by Vedanta Limited will mean much more cash flow for Vedanta Resources, which will of course be very important too for Vedanta Resources, given the fact, like I said, that it wants to reduce the debt on its books. It wants to get into deleveraging mode, and now is the best time to do so when cash flows from its subsidiaries are very strong, given the fact that, like I said, base metal prices, etc., are extremely high. The second event is Hindustan Zinc's own board meeting for declaring an dividend, which was supposed to be held last week, but guess what? It was indefinitely deferred. There was no timeline given, no reason given. Now, this was a jolt for Vedanta Limited, more than HZL. It was a jolt for Vedanta, because usually Vedanta gets a big sum of money from HZL. HZL in turn has declared very high dividends. For example, last year it declared a 21 rupee dividend. Vedanta Limited got 5,800 crore rupees from HZL's dividend. So this deferral of the dividend board meeting was a big jolt to Vedanta Limited. Vedanta Limited's own dividend declaration history has been quite choppy. Because firstly, unlike HZL, it does have debt on its book. So that tends to make it a little more vulnerable as well to the commodity cycles. The latest dividend declared by Vedanta was 9.5, but prior to that, it was just at 3.9. So you don't know what to expect really. But yeah, considering the fact that Vedanta Resources needs money now to deleverage, we could be expecting a good dividend from Vedanta Limited. And that, I suppose, is the one thing that shareholders can, look forward to.